Wired or wireless? Standalone or PCVR? It's an argument that's been raging since the DK2 and HTC Vive came out, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a pretty reasonable argument to have still. As it stands, VR is really only in its very early infancy, and the room for growth in this industry is nearly limitless. And so the argument rages on. Will the future of VR be wired and tethered to PCVR, where one can experience beautifully rendered graphics, high performance standards, and zero latency VR gameplay and workflow? Or will it be wireless, with the freedom and versatility that comes with having a standalone headset capable of use anywhere at any time? For all of their advantages and all of their drawbacks, there still seems to be a blind spot in this conversation. Yeah, we have gaming headsets up and down and across and all kinds of practical and useful AR and XR applications. But what if someone wanted to work inside of VR? Spend long periods of time comfortable, versatile, and yet portable, taking their workstation with them wherever they need to go, just like a work laptop, and yet still expecting the power and precision that comes with a high-performance PC VR experience. And well, the truth is the answer to the argument of wireless versus wired may just lie somewhere right between those two very specific mediums. It may lie in the Simula One. The Simula One will be a standalone PC VR experience. Yes, you heard me correct. A standalone PC VR experience that bridges the gap between the age-old argument of which one is better. Because with the Simula, you will be able to kind of experience both at the same time. The power and precision of PC VR with the flexibility, the freedom, and the practicality of a standalone experience. The Simula One is a virtual reality computer, and its specifications are honestly impressive enough to give even some really solid gaming PCs a run for their money. Make no mistake, Simula One's developers have stated it is not intended to be a gaming VR headset specifically, though it definitely has more than enough power to handle it. No, their intention is to turn the past of traditional laptop and PC workstations into one that is done portably and done inside of VR. And think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense. With PCs or laptops even, you're limited to one or two screens at a time. In VR, with the Simula One, it's almost limitless. The multitasking capabilities and seamless and convenient transitions between workflow are simple yet highly pragmatic innovations. Aside from what was already mentioned, the Simula also has pass-through cameras for managing your workspace outside of VR. Keyboards, mouses, your coffee cup that keeps awkwardly pumping into your HMD every time you try to take a sip, even motion controllers if you so desire. Now, you might be wondering, why would anyone buy a VR headset that's designed to be used specifically for maximizing workflow? And that is a really good question. And looking at the past, creating workflow optimized technology has actually been a lot more common than people realize. In fact, this is something Apple did really well in the 80s and 90s, from their original Apple II in '77 all the way up to their more recent iterations of the Power Mac and laptop MacBook Pros. I mean, when was the last time you heard someone say, "I just picked up a Mac to turn into a super sweet gaming rig"? Not that it's impossible to do so, but they're designed for work and multitasking. For all intents and purposes, this is the Simula One to Apple's MacBook Pro. And it should do a really good job of it at that. Backed by a Linux distro and Simula OS, the developer's own open source operating system, the headset demands to be used for long periods at a time while balancing multiple tasks simultaneously. With that being said, however, it means that the developers will have their work cut out for them in finding a highly comfortable and manageable ergonomic design for long-term use. To that end, I did get a chance to meet with one of the developers, and though there is no final figure for the official weight of the headset, they're estimating the final product weight to be approximately 800 grams, which is not insignificant considering the Valve Index weighs 809 grams as it stands, though 800 sounds like a lot. The one thing I can note as a regular Index user myself is you oftentimes barely notice the weight due to its relatively well-balanced weight distribution. If balanced thoughtfully, and if the developers can find that elusive golden ratio on the weight of the Simula, the weight itself may wind up being largely inconsequential to its overall comfort. It's remarkable to me that early estimations for the weight are even close to this figure, considering that unlike the Index, the Simula will have to house all of the computing components necessary to run standalone with slightly better, albeit similar specs to its PCVR colleague. Now, part of having a satisfying work experience and seamless workflow is being able to do things the way that you want to while you're working, because only you can judge how best to maximize your own efficiency or what you're most comfortable with. So it's really interesting to me that the Simula One uses 6DOF, or 6 degrees of freedom hand and finger tracking technology, without any need for motion controllers, gloves, or any controller for that matter. Nor does it come with any. You can pilot the Simula One entirely using hand and eye movements and a simple keyboard. Use hand gestures to manipulate windows, use the gaze of your eyes to focus the HMD. Now, the Simula One doesn't prevent you from using motion controllers. In fact, it is compatible with most consumer VR motion controllers in its current state. So if you already have a Valve Index, fear not. Simply set up your base stations like you normally would and plug away all the same. I really like this particular aspect of the Simula for its ability to allow people to work or play the way they want to with the headset. And while some may see the lack of any type of controller to be an inherent drawback, and I understand why, I think the developers understand that basically everyone has a mouse and keyboard nowadays. Portable and pragmatic, yet powerful and versatile, interoperable between PC and standalone. Bridging that gap between wireless and wired VR and XR experiences, it simply sounds too good to be true. And in some ways, it is. Because there are some notable drawbacks to the Simula. First and foremost, the price is significant. And when I say significant, I mean really a properly staggering amount of money. It's not cheap, whichever way you cut it, whether you opt for standalone, a Founders Edition, or the tethered PCVR version. And this is, in my opinion, the Simula's biggest hurdle to cover yet, before being widely accepted as a premier VR computer experience. When I asked the developers about lowering their price points, they did confirm they are trying as hard as they can to lower costs and lower price points for both current and future iterations, though ironically enough, one of the simplest ways for the price to go down is for more people to just buy it. I don't think that the Simula's price point will be resolved anytime in the immediate or near future, at least not significantly, though it is reasonable to expect that over the course of the next 5 years or so, the Simula and any future iterations it may or may not have will begin decreasing in price drastically as it gains more traction, is purchased more, and as supply chains open up a bit from their current frustrating state. The second most glaring hurdle the developers need to cover is they're still trying to figure out the battery situation. As we know, batteries are heavy, extremely heavy, and usually are the biggest weight factor when considering any wireless headset design. Not only this, but how heavy the battery is determines directly how much battery you wind up having overall. The bigger the battery, the longer the battery life. It's just that simple. And well, that's also a problem for a device that's aiming for 800 grams of weight and is expecting to put out computing power rivaling a traditional desktop or laptop work computer. Though this is a significant development to overcome, the developers have told me they're aiming for somewhere between 3 to 4 hours of battery life, at least in the earliest iterations of the device. While I think this is certainly an obstacle, I don't think the battery's gonna make or break the Simula. Even a 2-hour battery life is relatively standard compared to the industry overall, with the Quest 2 boasting a maximum 3 hours of battery life. The real meat and potatoes of the Simula One lies in its work-oriented focus, its Linux distro and open source operating system, and its significant computing capabilities. That being said, with purchase orders already being made and the official release still some ways away, I have been told there will be review units ready to ship soon, possibly within the next couple of months here. What the final specifications and features of the device wind up being in the end product, we have yet to see, though I would be extremely eager and very, very excited to get my hands on one of those review models and see what the Simula One is well and truly about and put it through its paces properly. Of course, as all things VR tech related goes, if that happens, you will all be the first to know. It is important to note that all the information presented here I got off of Simula One's website or from talking with the dev team. If you'd like to follow the Simula One for yourself, check out their publicly available dev blog on their website so that you can stay up to date on all the latest happenings with their device. I'll also provide links in the description to their blog as well as all of their social media plugins if you'd like to follow them there as well. And that's it. That's all the time we have today, ladies and gents. If you're still watching, I appreciate you more than you will ever know. Be sure to leave a comment down below to let me know what you think about the Simula One and to let me know what you would like to see out of next week's video. Remember to hit the like button if you thought this video was informative, subscribe if you want to see more of it next week, and hit that notification bell if you just cannot stand missing out on this oh so very sweet VR content. Remember, I love each and every one of you beautiful father muckers. Until next time, Grimsy out.